Party Popper, thank you for subscribing. Your support means the world. It's what keeps us going. Sharing powerful stories that move hearts and reveal truths most are afraid to speak. Speech Balloon, if you've just joined us, welcome to a place where every story is a journey through hidden truths, unspoken emotions, and endings that leave you breathless. Backhand index pointing at still watching but haven't subscribed yet? Now's your moment. Hit that subscribe button because what's coming next will pull you in deeper than you ever expected. Bell, and don't forget to tap the bell so you'll never miss the next chapter that just might change everything. Right arrow, one click. One emotional journey. Come with us. The laundry room was dim, shadows lurking, with only the flickering light of the dryer cutting through the darkness. It clicked, a quiet rhythm pulsing beneath the weight of his breath against my neck. My hands clutched the edge of the washer, the cold metal digging into my palms as his chest pressed against my back. One hand gripped my hip, steady and sure, while the other slid beneath my shirt, as if he'd longed to touch me there for an eternity. His name lingered, trapped in my throat. My knees shook as he pressed deeper, moving slowly this time, forcing me to brace both arms flat against the dryer's top to keep from collapsing. My shirt clung tightly at my ribs. His skin radiated warmth, igniting a fire within me. My breath clouded the dark plastic panel as I clenched my lower lip between my teeth. The hallway lay still, yet the tension crackled like a storm waiting to break. I never told you to stop. I remained silent. As he moved ever so slightly, the sensation intensified, a mix of agony and ecstasy, compelling me to push my hips back toward him. It was never meant to unfold this way. Yet here it was, unfolding before my eyes. This wasn't in my plans, but then again I abandoned planning long ago. He's the closest ally of my husband. They've shared a bond since their teenage years. 15 years filled with memories, cookouts, birthday dinners, surprise visits. Each moment etched in my heart. He was there for us as we stepped into this new home. He stood by us as we transformed the upstairs bedroom with color. He was there, bringing soup when I was lost in the grip of the flu 2 winters ago. How did I find myself here, hunched over a washing machine, gnawing on the weight of guilt? The taste lingers. I'm 38. I manage a home that many would covet. 2 children, a husband who greets me with a kiss on the cheek every morning. We embody stability, reliability, and security. Yet, when you fade from view, the price of safety becomes steep. I faded from view long ago. I never intended to see how frequently James lingered after the parties ended. I never intended to feel this way when he assisted me with the groceries, or when he leaned in too close to open the fridge. It was something deeper. It happened unexpectedly. Years of unspoken connection, where every glance lingered, until the silence turned sharp and biting. That night began like any other, but darkness held secrets waiting to unfold. A brief gathering. My husband overindulged and slipped into sleep far too soon. James lingered, offering his hand to help me clean. We were lost in laughter, reminiscing about an old song echoing from my phone. I wore my hair up. I remained in the dress I had worn to host. As I reached out to offer him a dish towel, his hand remained still, refusing to grasp it. It claimed my wrist. His gaze held a conflict, a reluctance mixed with an undeniable necessity. I held my ground. The dryer chimed, a sudden interruption in the silence. A floorboard creaked somewhere upstairs. I leaped, and he caught me, his hands firm on my hips. We stood still, hearts pounding. In an instant. Still within, still quaking. I have to leave, I murmured. I know, he said, yet we remained frozen in place. We stayed apart for so long that I lost sight of the peril we were both dancing around. We were deep in it, lost in the moment, until the circles faded away. He was gone just 5 minutes later. I left him behind. I perched on the dryer's edge, trembling, pain coursing through forgotten parts of me. What would you do if the one person who made you feel alive was the very one you were forbidden to long for? Here lies the darkest truth. I expected it would come to this. Deep within, I had been holding on, anticipating. And the second worst part is, I'm not sure I want to let go. That night, after showering and tossing the laundry in once more to mask his scent, I found myself in the hallway, fixated on my bedroom door. My husband lay there, lost in a world of deep, rumbling snores. I shook with intensity and I felt no regret. Living under the same roof, yet feeling unseen. It's a haunting experience that many understand all too well. Show your support and join us. We won't raise our voices, but we'll speak the truth more deeply. Routine has a way of dulling your senses, creeping in before you even realize it. Every morning, I rise at 6:45, the world still cloaked in silence. I program the coffee machine's timer. I prepare eggs, occasionally toast, and if we're lucky, some fruit that remains. The kids enter, each one a hesitant step into the unknown. My husband is glued to his phone, only lifting his gaze when the news flickers on. I drift among them, a ghost in the space, unseen and untouched. Only what's essential. I once took pride in this rhythm. I believed that being the glue that bound it all meant I was significant. Yet, gradually it transformed into mere noise, catching me off guard. I melded into the background. In the week that followed the laundry room, I navigated the days as I always had. Leaving them at the gates, a bittersweet moment hangs in the air. Quick trip to the store. New sheets were put on Thursday. Everything felt the same, yet something had undeniably changed. Not me, and him. 2 days later, James arrived, clutching the spare part for the sink, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. He just showed up unannounced. He never had to. My husband always spoke of James's family. I opened the door for him. My hands dripped with the remnants of the dishes. The sun struck the counter at the perfect angle. I just couldn't bear to meet his gaze. "Hey," he whispered, barely audible. His eyes locked onto mine, filled with a tension that hinted at an impending clash or a sudden break. But I never closed anything. I nodded, feeling the weight of unspoken words between us. The sink continues to drip, a relentless reminder of the chaos beneath the surface. He huddled beneath the counter, and I lingered tense in the kitchen doorway. I should have walked away. I should have gone upstairs. Yet I lingered, scrubbing the counter that was already clean, observing the subtle shift of his shoulders under the flannel. A silent tension hung in the air. The haunting creak of his boots on the tile floor echoes in my mind. As he rose, his gaze met mine, void of any smile. "I couldn't stop thinking about you," he confessed. Far beyond what was necessary. I remained silent. I just couldn't. He edged nearer. "But just far enough. I won't force it," he said. "But if you call it a mistake, I'll trust you." My throat constricted. The room suffocated with heat. The fridge buzzed softly, a constant reminder of the stillness around it. A dog barked, its echo slicing through the stillness 2 houses down. All I could whisper was, "Why didn't it feel like a mistake?" I can't quite grasp what it was. He nodded, a silent agreement hanging heavy in the air. Understood. It was meant to be the conclusion. He had the chance to leave. I could have erased him from my mind. Yet he stayed. He descended into the basement, heart racing, to inspect the water line, as it always is. As if this place was his true home. What terrified me was how achingly normal it all felt. James has always been the one to lend a hand. He's the one who brings the magic of Christmas to life with his lights. The person who hauls the garbage bins away when my husband overlooks them. He arrives just when the water starts to pour. A wobbly stair rail. A tempest unleashed its fury, toppling a mighty tree. He never seeks a thing. Always stays within bounds. It never stays for long, but not anymore. Now I notice how his fingers graze against mine as we cross paths. Now I feel the weight of silence where words once lingered, unspoken yet profound. Now I can still feel his hand on the back of my neck. Strong, comforting, unwavering in a space where I stood alone, unseen. And even more devastating, I yearned for it. 16 years of marriage had passed. I encountered my husband at the age of 22. By the time I hit 30, we were already parents of 2. This life is our creation. Just one paycheck, a single choice. Each sacrifice cuts deep. Somewhere along the path, I lost the feeling of being touched, as if I were a woman. I transformed into logistics. I transformed into a whirlwind of meals, schedules, and laundry. But when James looked at me, it was as if I truly existed once more. I do love my husband, but something feels off. I do, or I did. Or perhaps I still do, like the way you cherish an old sweatshirt. Cozy, known, frayed at the edges. It had been more than a year since we last embraced, without a reason to hold back. When James reached for me in that room, betrayal was the last thing on my mind. I felt destined. It felt as if someone finally saw me, recognizing that I was more than just a mother, more than just a wife. Deep within the patience, the routines, and the silence, I remained someone deserving of desire. It cuts deep how accurate that feels. That night, I lingered by the kitchen window, the house silent as everyone else drifted into dreams. The house lay still, the only sound the soft hum of the dishwasher behind me. I gazed into the backyard, where shadows danced restlessly in the wind, and I whispered, "What am I doing here?" I felt it deep within me, this was far from finished. It began with the tiniest details. A message sent at 9:17 p.m. As I folded towels on the couch, a wave of memories washed over me. Your hair clip was forgotten in the laundry room. I fixed my gaze on the screen, heart racing, for almost a full minute before I finally responded, "I know." No emojis. This is serious. 3 words that stripped away all pretense, leaving raw vulnerability in their wake. 3 days later, I opened the front door and there it was, the clip, hauntingly still on the entry table. He just walked in. He entered as he always did, effortlessly casual, yet a storm brewed beneath the surface. Now everything felt perilous. He brushed past me, barely sparing a glance as he headed to the garage. His hand grazed mine as he passed me the screwdriver. That touch coursed through my spine, igniting every nerve. James began visiting more frequently, each time with a purpose that lingered in the air. A sudden breach, a hinge that barely holds on, a package mistakenly left at his doorstep, holding secrets untold. He always left too soon. Yet in the silence of our unspoken words, everything shifted. It was a Tuesday afternoon when the danger first crept in. My husband was out with the guys, sharing a meal and laughter. James arrived to repair the back screen. I handed him the lemonade. As I passed him the glass, our fingers brushed once more. He held on a moment longer. I didn't either. "You look exhausted," he murmured, concern etched in his voice. I shrugged, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. "I drift into slumber. That's not what I intended." His gaze pierced through me, a searing heat beneath my shirt. I took a step back. She faced the sink, the weight of the moment pressing down on her. My hands trembled and I couldn't understand why. For nearly a week, our hands remained apart, yet the silence between us deepened, swelling with an unnameable weight. I found myself unable to look away as he leaned down to pick something up. I began to brush my hair, anticipation coursing through me, just in case he showed up. I slipped into soft sweaters, leaving my stained t-shirts behind. It was never about appearances. It was about being truly recognized. He felt it keenly. His presence hung in the air, his voice softened, a secret shared only between us. He remained silent, his words never crossing the line. Each word weighed heavy, a challenge to endure. We stood on the brink of collapse. After dinner one night, I stepped outside to toss the trash. James stood in the driveway, pulling his bin with a heavy heart. He mentioned a late run. I nodded, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. Lost track of time. Thursday slipped away. We stood there in silence. The scent of grass and heated pavement lingered, thick with nostalgia. The neighborhood lay shrouded in darkness, with porch lights flickering on one by one, casting eerie shadows. And then he spoke the words. Silence hangs heavy, as if he questioned whether he even had the right to be there. It haunts my thoughts constantly. I faced the truth of his words head-on. I swallowed hard, my voice barely a whisper, "Me too." We stood frozen, caught in the moment. "I don't want to hurt anyone," I added, my voice trembling. He nodded, moving in just enough for me to sense his warmth. So we remained inactive. Yet neither of us moved away. That night, lying next to my husband, my mind was consumed by the image of James's hand clutching the bin handle. His jaw tightened with unspoken strain. His breath caught, a moment suspended in time. Sleep eluded me. The tension reached a breaking point the following weekend. A gathering around the grill, every one of us. My husband stands over the grill, flipping burgers with a focused intensity. James thrusts the tongs into my hands at the grill. Our hands brushed once more, and this time it was deliberate. His thumb brushed against my knuckle, a fleeting touch as he handed over the metal. I stood my ground. I stayed right there. I gasped, the world spinning around me. As I leaned down to reach for a dish in the cooler, I felt his gaze pierce through me. I found myself captivated by the way he leaned in, laughter spilling from his lips at my husband's joke. The routine of it all. The danger thrums beneath the surface. I returned with the lemonade, offering him a glass, our eyes locking for a fleeting moment. He clung to it, the weight of the moment stretching into eternity. His fingers lingered on mine, igniting a spark that felt both thrilling and dangerous. I caught my husband glancing away. A neighbor hurried by, their presence a fleeting shadow in the quiet of the day. The house was packed, yet a chilling silence lingered. None of them had a clue. It churned my stomach, yet deepened my craving. The following day, I discovered a note tucked beneath the sink. It was a single sentence, hurriedly scrawled in a slanted hand. I'll be in the garage at noon waiting. I stayed silent. At 12:01, I swung open the garage door. He stood there, feigning repairs on a rake, lost in his own world. His shirt clung to him, soaked in sweat. His gaze locked onto mine, silence enveloping us both. For 30 seconds, we stood frozen, the heavy scent of hot dust and oil enveloping us. I murmured, I can't go on like this. I understand. I sense myself plummeting. He moved in, the air thick with tension. Then perhaps you should stop pretending you aren't. He never made the first move. He lingered, heart racing. We stood in the garage, mere feet apart, with only the weight of air and years of unspoken tension separating us. A distant weed trimmer whined, slicing through the stillness. My heart raced, echoing in my ears. The oppressive heat from the bulb thickened the air, as if a tempest were on the verge of unleashing its fury. I moved in closer. Driven by an insatiable urge or perhaps the weight of restraint, I took the first step. I brushed past him, urgency driving me to grasp something just out of reach. I just couldn't. As our shoulders brushed, he pivoted to face me. Unhurried, mastered. His chest brushed against mine, a breath away from something electric. I glanced up and breathed, if you dare to touch me now. He remained silent, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. He acted without asking. His hand brushed against the small of my back, tentative at first, a whisper of touch, then growing stronger, more assured. I gasped. We can't, I insisted. Yet I remained still. I know, he whispered. His lips brushed against my neck, a slow, intentional path that left my knees weak. I grasped the edge of the workbench, the cold metal anchoring me, if only for a heartbeat, just a fleeting instant. He moved in tighter. The first sound that escaped my lips was not a moan, but a sharp gasp. A sudden gasp, sharp and raw, as if the world had split apart. His hands were surprisingly smooth. They treaded lightly, testing. He seemed aware he was cradling something shattered. I faced him, resting my forehead against his collarbone. We lingered in that moment, our bodies close yet still. He leaned down and it wasn't a kiss, not yet. Just a whisper of your breath against my cheek. Fury, a whisper of lips close to mine yet just out of reach. The waiting tore me apart. Not the act but the heartbeat before. A tense pause hangs in the air, heavy with anticipation. When it finally happened, it struck with ferocity. It was anything but harsh. It was a moment suspended in time, heavy with unspoken words and raw emotions, where every heartbeat echoed the weight of what was left unsaid. In a moment of sheer urgency, hope hangs by a thread. Held together but on the edge. Silence enveloped us. He hoisted me onto the workbench, not harshly, but with a desperate urgency that sent a chill through me. I pulled him closer, my fingers clutching the fabric of his shirt tightly. The garage was thick with the scent of aged paint and cedar, a haunting reminder of forgotten moments. My shoulder collided with a wrench. A thud echoed as something hit the concrete floor. We held our gaze, refusing to glance away. His body collided with mine, and I instinctively arched toward him. Not to amplify the moment, just to experience it. Completely, a pulse had begun to emerge. A silence that screams. We had been restraining ourselves for far too long. I grasped the pegboard, anchoring myself in a moment of uncertainty. The sharp chill of the hanging tool sent a jolt through me. He paused, whispered, "Too much, no." I shook my head, my jaw clenched in tension. "Keep going." His lips pressed against my throat once more. And this time his kiss was anything but uncertain. It was overflowing. With gravity. After years of silence, it finally speaks. I should have let go. At any moment I could have. Yet, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I entwined my legs around his hips. I drew him in, my hands trembling with urgency. I watched as the moment shattered around us. A car door slammed, echoing from 2 houses away. I felt a surge of tension. He stood still, heart racing, yet we pressed on. As silence hung between us, I tugged my shirt down, each movement a desperate attempt to wipe away the moment. He stepped back, running his hand through his hair, breath hitching in his chest. I gazed at him, truly gazed, and whispered, "What have we just done?" He parted his lips. "It's done." The impact struck me suddenly, the house looming just 20 feet away. My husband is trapped within. The barbecue grill still radiating heat. 12 unread messages awaited my attention, all that I was meant to be. His fingers brushed against mine, a spark igniting between us. I hesitated. "No," I whispered. "Kindly." He nodded, his jaw tight with tension. I stepped off the bench, heart racing. My legs trembled. As I turned to go, I caught his gaze one final time and spoke the words that hung heavy between us. "This moment is fleeting, never to be repeated." Yet deep down, we both knew the truth. That night, I scrubbed my hands 3 times, not due to their dirtiness, but because I couldn't escape the haunting sensation of his skin against mine. Even hours later, the warmth of his touch lingered on my palms. His body's imprint lingered on mine, a haunting presence I never asked for. Yet I found myself desperate to hold on to it. I stepped into the kitchen, the remnants of dinner hanging heavy in the air. My husband looked up from the table, his eyes filled with unspoken words. "Are you all right?" he inquired, his mouth full. "Absolutely, I did. It's bitterly cold out there." He glanced away, never to return. He never does. That night, the pain pierced deeper than I ever imagined. James's voice pierced the silence, echoing through the patio door. He laughed with the others, masking the storm within. I held my gaze steady, resisting the urge to search for any hint of guilt in his stance or the way he furtively glanced my way. Yet, it stirred within me, a relentless hum. A fire ignites beneath my skin. I couldn't bear to finish my plate. That night, I lay in bed, restless as my husband snored softly beside me. I watched the ceiling fan spin, each rotation pulling me deeper into my thoughts. I heard the ice maker's rhythmic clinks, each sound echoing with a quiet urgency, anything to silence the haunting echoes of the past. Yet it returned shattered. The air thick with the scent of dust in the garage. His breath brushed my throat, igniting a fire within. The chill of the metal pressed against my back as he forced me onto the bench. My thighs throbbed, a stark reminder that this was all too real. I grasped my phone tightly. Silence reigns. And then it vibrated with urgency. One message. Shaking uncontrollably. "I didn't reply to you." I flipped the screen down, gazing into the abyss, and soon the tears began to fall. The following day, I went too far to make up for it. I prepared breakfast as if it were a celebration. Fluffy pancakes, golden eggs, vibrant fresh fruit. I put on lipstick before heading to the grocery store. I sent my husband messages filled with words I had kept silent for far too long. "I miss you so much already." Contemplating the night ahead. We should escape for a weekend adventure soon. He craved the spotlight. He pressed his lips to my cheek and whispered, "I adore this side of you." A laugh nearly escaped me, not for the laughter, but for the stark realization of my own invisibility. How utterly unseen I had allowed myself to be. The affair stirred no guilt within me, it was a reflection of my darkness. It filled me with guilt, for it laid bare my soul. A week passed before it happened again. We convinced ourselves it couldn't happen. We convinced ourselves it was over. It was a fleeting moment of vulnerability. Yet every second that followed was built on deception. It unfolded in the laundry room. He was leaving behind the tools, a silent farewell to the work that had consumed him. As I folded the towels, each crease felt like a moment suspended in time. The dryer buzzed softly, a quiet reminder of the chaos that lay just beneath the surface. The lights flickered low. In that moment, his gaze locked onto mine, truly saw me, and everything came rushing back. The pain lingers, the awareness. Do you wish you could take it back? He whispered, lingering in the doorway. I should have said yes. The weight of that choice lingers, haunting me with every breath. I chose to inquire. Do you really? Silence hung heavy in the air as he remained unresponsive. He crossed the threshold. He shut the door, sealing away the world outside. I let him go. This moment felt unique. Silence envelopes. Calmer. There was trembling, but it was different this time. It came from a deeper place. It came from a deep sense of recognition. We both understood this was no longer a mere accident. His fingers brushed against mine as I pressed my back to the cool metal of the dryer. I allowed it to happen. He pushed into me slow and heavy. This time, I let it all out. I let out a deep, heavy breath. It stung deep within, a touch. Yet, I yearned for it to continue. He stopped, his forehead pressed against mine, and whispered the words, "This is no longer a mere error." I needed to confront him with the truth of his mistake. I remained silent, my words trapped within me. Once he was gone, I finished folding the remaining towels. My hands trembled uncontrollably. I glanced at my phone once more. No messages yet. Yet with each buzz, whether it was a bank alert or my sister's name, a jolt of emotion surged through me. That paralyzing fear, the rush. This was the moment everything would shatter. That someone would truly understand. Someone has already taken that step. With each buzz of the phone, a wave of dread washes over me, as if it heralds the end. Yet, I find myself checking it regardless. My husband's voice shattered the silence. A sudden cut. Where were you moments ago? I had just entered the hallway, or so I believed for a fleeting moment. James arrived, his eyes filled with urgency, seeking a drill. I convinced myself that was the limit of it. Yet we lingered far too long, so near. It seems I couldn't conceal it at all. My heart sank. I slowly turned around. I was simply guiding James to the charger. It lay hidden beneath the coats. He narrowed his eyes. Are you all right? What's causing that flush on your face? I let out a strained laugh. The warmth envelopes you, a gentle embrace that stirs something deep within. I need to breathe. His gaze lingered on me, heavy with unspoken words. Her gaze pierced through me, sending shivers down my spine. He nodded, turned, and walked back to the living room, leaving a heavy silence in his wake. Yet the atmosphere in the house changed. A suspicion shattered, revealing hidden truths. A fragile crack. It remained open, hauntingly so. That night, I turned my back on my phone, not because I didn't yearn to see his name. Yet I did. As the screen flickered to life, I hesitated, letting the message linger for 30 agonizing minutes before I dared to read it. He understands. Just 3 words. No punctuation, only that. I can't fathom how James found out. Perhaps it was the way my husband gazed at him. Perhaps it was the way I glanced over my shoulder. I hit delete. The chat has been cleared. Then she switched the phone off completely. Days slipped by. Silence hung heavy in the air. Yet everything had changed. My husband started to linger awake long after I had gone to bed. Lingering in the kitchen after dinner. The silence thick with unspoken words. He locked his phone. A gesture that spoke volumes. A shift from the past that felt heavy with unspoken words. James vanished without a trace. Nothing to aid us. Silence hangs heavy. No messages. The silence roared, drowning out any possible clash. On a still Saturday morning, my best friend arrived, James's wife. She sat in the dim light, sunglasses shielding her eyes from the world. She claimed a migraine was consuming her. I extended a cup of coffee to her. She turned away. She stood frozen in my kitchen, gazing down at the cold, unyielding tiles, as if they were about to take a step forward. And then she spoke the words, "I feel something has shifted." I swallowed hard. What do you mean by the connection between James and someone? I have no idea who, yet I truly know him. Something is undeniably broken. She kept her gaze fixed on the ground, avoiding my eyes, yet she chose not to. The words lingered in the air, thick and suffocating. She walked away just moments later. I lingered in the kitchen, the silence stretching painfully, long after she had left. I longed to declare that this was the conclusion. We came to a halt. We salvaged what remained to be saved. Yet it all remained unfulfilled. James returned after 2 long weeks, running behind. Unexpected. He lingered in the silence of the house, heart racing until all was still. It was just me, folding laundry in the quiet of the back room. Silence hung heavy in the air. As the door clicked shut behind me, a heavy silence enveloped the room. Our lips never met. Our faces remained blank. We stood frozen in that moment. He leaned in close and whispered, "I shouldn't be here." I understand. I can't find a way to end this, I understand. It had lost its fire. It was a decision heavy and deliberate. It carried a weight beyond measure, chaotic, more isolated. 2 souls destined to remain apart, yet drawn together in a moment of undeniable connection, grasping for one another once more despite everything. His hands shook as they crept beneath the edge of my shirt. I allowed it to happen. As he pulled away, breathless and filled with shame, silence enveloped us. His return was never my request. Yet I never stopped him from doing it. I find myself in a